Meant to educate this August gathering. You have seen these many times, and I'm sure most of us, my senior colleagues, would have used them in case of creating, in presenting the PC1s or feasibility studies to the government for approvals. So these kind of cliches and quotes were used, but that was to that extent only. And prior to the era of General Pervez Musharraf, these were only used, but they never saw the end, never saw the implementation of these projects for which these feasibilities was created. Again, this diagram was very commonly used not only by the officials at the highest level, but more importantly by the students of staff colleges and NDC to decorate their presentations for better grading, but that was to that extent only. It did not go anything beyond that. As I said, some of us would be knowing Gwadar was bought by Pakistan in 1960s. Till then, it was part and parcel of Oman. And let me add one more thing. You'll be surprised that in 1970, I remember reading one of the telephone directories printed by TNT. Gwadar was shown as international call till 1970. So that is the state of development, or let's say even the concept of looking towards Gwadar, towards Balochistan for any meaningful development. Naval ships, as I said, we landed for the first time in 1966, and then we have been visiting. And let me share my experiences here. Gwadar was a very small village comprising of small huts and fishing boats. And when we first landed, if you recall, Edward, that when 4, 5, 6 of us we went ashore, the locals over there saw us for the first time, and they were coming around, meeting us as if something extraordinary happened to them. We spent the whole day with our bag lunches there, and then we were told to come back in the evening. But that was the state of Gwadar in 66, that there was no road link was there, no other way for the others, from the outsiders to visit. So it was an occasion for the locals to see us, the naval people, visiting that place. Last point, as I said, is we have to improve law and order for any private sector investment or any viable economic activity. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, I would request you to listen to me attentively. Balochistan became part of Pakistan because of the free will expressed by the Municipal Council and Shahi Jirga of British Balochistan and successful negotiation of Qaid-e-Azam with Nawabs and Jam of 3 constituent states of tribal Balochistan, that is Haran, Makran and Lasbela, leaving no option with Khan of Kalat but to cede his remaining state of Kalat to Pakistan. Khan-e-Azam of Kalat, Mir Ahmad Yar Khan, played a dubious game of accepting Pakistan as well as conspiring against it. In collusion with his brother Prince Abdul Karim Khan. Secondly, the Sazari system, gifted by Sandeman, though immoral by itself, but served the British interest very well, became more despotic and uglier after 1947. Under the Sandeman system, the British Raj was beneficiary while common tribesmen suffered very hugely. After 1947, gentlemen, the Karachi Sardars effectively manipulated the both, that the state of Pakistan as well as their own tribesmen, to advance their self-interest. Consequently, a few parts of Balochistan have been in continual state of lawlessness, violence and insurgency, regulated by a few Sardars against the wishes of overwhelming majority of Balochistanis. Thirdly, the ruling elite continue to play just one part of the sentiment game of buying and building Sardars to have peace in Balochistan. The game helps the Sardars to let their common tribesmen suffer, starve, or go to hell or die. In the process, we neither could bring peace nor could improve the lot of the common people. As a result, few Sardars attained more exploitative, oppressive, and draconian powers, giving them masterly control over their subjects. Resolution of tribal disputes will help generate tremendous amount of economic activity for the immense benefits of the locals and their future generations. In this regard, we should give priority to resolving intra-tribal disputes of Maris and Buktis. You should know that the blasting of gas pipelines and destroying the pylons and bridges and all that, mostly it is because of the intra-tribe dispute of the war which is going on there. No doubt it is an arduous task and a long haul, but certainly doable, without which peace will never return. It will remain a distant dream. There is no shortcut to it, even if we use massive force, lots of money, and other means, fear or power. Along with that, we have to actuate a process of effecting psychosocial change. As you know, egalitarianism has been the essence of democracy, but its realization in the tribal society controlled by despotic Sardars presents a daunting challenge to the political leadership. Therefore, a systematic approach is required to actuate the process of change in the society afflicted by chronic deprivations and inequalities. In this regard, mid to lower tiers of leadership like Meers, Vaderas, Mothbirds, Muqaddams and Sardakris, etc. figure out prominently in the Baloch tribal system, which need to be encouraged, befriended and nurtured for the change that we envision. It's a long-drawn process, but very much possible in the light of my experience of effecting such a change in the Mari and Luni tribes. In doing so, we have to give due respect to the Sardars and never ever try to ridicule or belittle their centuries-old customs and traditions. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we have to undertake massive socio-economic development. Through resolution of tribal disputes and agreement on allocation of equitable shares to all the stakeholders will create favorable environment for undertaking large-scale exploration and development of mines, mineral gas and oil, and in turn will fund the socio-economic developmental projects. The natural resources of Balochistan are so much that we can change the destiny of the people through better education, healthcare, human resource development, infrastructure development, including electricity, water and communication network. Let the Balochistanis be the priority beneficiaries of Balochistan resources was the guiding principle for me to follow that changed the lifestyle of the people of Kolu, Loralai and adjoining districts. Regarding insurgency, we have to defeat insurgency and not fight insurgency. Application of military instrument alone has never been a lasting solution to the Balochistan problem. It is to be seen and felt as a deterrent only. If at all compelled, the use of force must be restricted to a single objective of promoting peaceful solution. I had this belief before entering Balochistan that turned into my conviction because of the most rewarding experience of defeating insurgency through indirect approach of addressing the aspiration of the tribesmen and making them the stakeholders in the whole process of their psychosocial and political economic improvements. To win the trust of the local leaders It's very difficult. It is easier said than it can be done. It's very, very difficult. But it is essential that we should initiate certain confidence building measures, some of which I had practiced were generate large-scale economic activity and employment opportunities to benefit the locals, develop, strengthen and demonstrate mutuality of long-term interest in peaceful coexistence and its dividends among all the stakeholders, including the concerned tribes, the investors, the governments of both Balochistan and Pakistan. Lend credence to the government's resolve and sincerity to alleviate the socio-economic sufferings of the Balochistanis, thereby enhancing public confidence in the people-friendly policies of the government of Balochistan and Pakistan. Immense benefits, ladies and gentlemen, going directly to the local Baderas, Malaks and common tribesmen will effectively negate the venomous propaganda about usurpation of mineral resources of Balochistan by outsiders and act as a strong incentive for the masses and majority of the militants, thereby weakening and alienating the hardcore militants and separatists and their masters. The incentives must aim at creating irresistible stakes for the masses and especially for the militants. For example, adoption of their children for good quality education, sustenance of their dependents, adequate healthcare, social sector development, human resource development, and generation of massive employment opportunities, assurance for better life to the common tribesmen and their elders, persuading them to part with their self-destruct inherited militancy. Winning over the tribes would lead to sanitizing the insurgency-plagued areas and thus alienating the militants or Fararis, an indirect and the most effective way of defeating insurgency, leading to enduring peace. The adopted approach must ultimately aim at provoking significant change, sustainable change, that is economically, politically and psychologically, socially, in the insurgency zone and the Sardar-controlled landscape of Balochistan. Mobilization of the people through massive media and PR campaign to subdue the nefarious propaganda that distorts the image and noble intent, let the voice of the overwhelming majority be heard and felt, propelling the masses to stand up against the menace in partnership. Every effort must be made to enhance the credibility, being essence of durable relations between the governments and the tribes. It is thus vital that we neither overpromise nor underdeliver. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude with, let me suggest to you a motto that is a French motto: liberty, equality, fraternity. Of course, derived from Islamic teachings. That is the way forward in Balochistan. If we are serious in changing the destiny of the people, the subjugated tribesmen, they are crying for emancipation, equal rights, peaceful coexistence. They are not children of lesser gods. We urge the politicians, media and civil society to measure up to the challenge instead of politicking, point scoring and bashing Pakistan army. Balochistan's future is at stake. That means Pakistan's future is in jeopardy. Let's join hands, irrespective of prejudices, personal or party interests, to work honestly for better future of Balochisan that will strengthen Pakistan. In this noble cause, we shall be with you, with the media, wholeheartedly and unconditionally. The least you can do is to stop blaming bashing Pakistan.